From the east, house of light, may wisdom dawn in us, so we may see all things in clarity. From the north, house of night, may wisdom ripen in us, so we may see all from within. From the west, house of transformation, may wisdom be transformed into right action, so we may do what must be done. From the south, house of the eternal sun, may right action reap the harvest, so we may enjoy the fruits of planetary being. From above, house of heaven, where star people and ancestors gather, may their blessings come to us now. From below, house of earth, may the heartbeat of her crystal core bless us with harmonies to end all war. From the center, galactic source, which is everywhere at once, may everything be known as the light of mutual love. Ayum hunabku evam maya e maho. Ayum hunabku evam maya e maho. Ayum hunabku evam maya e maho.
just different. I am the world changer, coded by the blue storm. My number is 19, the power of all number. I am the master alchemist, the force behind the philosopher's stone. Skilled at the art of transmutation. I am the catalytic transformer of world consciousness and planetary living. I oversee the changes of the weather. I am the thunder that shatters your world systems. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies, It was I who caused the triple Aztec monuments of the Avatar archetype to appear in the ancient temple grounds. I oversee the morning and the evening stars. I behold the creator of the fifth sun, the present world. Sent forth am I to dwell among you, calling forth the sixth sun. For the great regeneration of the world's soul, to know me is to know your own power of self-generation. To know me is to know your own power of self-generation. Self-generation is power. I am the transport of clouds filled with lightning to illuminate the truth behind your illusions. I am the bringer of the drenching rains that purifies.
All right, greetings and Inlock Cash. Happy New Year's evolution as it relates to the Gregorian calendar. I got some really powerful knowledge, and for each of you in a celebratory state, or those of you in an evolutionary state, there's a little something here for everybody to advance their consciousness in this time and in this space. My name is Neb Taharka Kanish Kawak. Some of you know me as the architect, and I am the chancellor and founder of the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And this is a branch of that we call Synchronistic Talk or Sync Talk. And the title of today's session is to quantum leap into the new time. Notice I didn't say new year, I said the new time. So now we have to see what is our definition for time, right? And so we're going to talk about that, because in order to be able to quantum leap in such a fashion, you have to have an ideology of time as something that can help evolve consciousness versus keep track of accomplishments or timekeeping methods for some type of capitalistic purpose. So I'm very excited to be here on this day as an opportunity to share with you, since most people around the world celebrate this as a new year, how to quantum leap in the new time. And so you're going to be really excited. I want you to pay perfect attention to what we actually do here. We have also created a format to do an extreme amount of coaching. This is our 22nd semester that will be starting on January 17th on the law of time and nature classes, as well as the whole mind, so we can access more of our extrasensory and telepathic abilities. So it's very powerful what we have our hand on. But let's start out with a vision statement. Our vision statement states to transcend our minds deep into our cosmic memory circuits. Now, I know, let me stop right there. I know if you're listening to this for the first time, it sounds deep, but it's not as deep as you think. You're deeper than you think, because we just been operating on the surface. So I want to get you into a deeper state. And let me tell you something else before I get deep into this vision statement. I want you to leave here, whether you study this or not, a better person than before you came. Just think about if the things that you invested in thought enough about you to present an opportunity for you to be a better person, more skilled, more intelligent, more able to handle difficulty after you're finished than before you came. And that's why I'm on here on this day, to help give you an opportunity to repattern your mind for something beyond you've ever been. So the vision statement is to transcend our minds deep into our cosmic memory circuits as we awaken from a deep state of amnesia in order to move from the information age, binary code, computers, artificial intelligence, into the telepathic age, the power of synchronicity, extrasensory perception of our existence. And here's the assignment: to establish a new world of highly telepathic beings. Do you know the benefit of that? When I talk about telepathy, people get scared and they say, well, how, what is that going to do? What is that going to do? Okay, let me give you an idea. For those of you that watch sports, what if you could predict who was going to win? And it was interesting. I was watching the Ohio State and Oregon game just a few minutes ago, a little while ago, and with a family member, and they was telling me about it and talking to me about some real interesting things. And the game was on, of course, and I don't mind the game being on. The game is on, but I'm gonna give you an example. Oregon is 13-0, and they have this playoff, and they beat Ohio State earlier in the year by a smidgen, and so and Ohio State lost 2 games. So you would think that if you were a betting man, and some people bet, right, that Oregon would win, at least by a little bit. Turns out Ohio State was really beating them really bad. Now, what if, right? It don't matter if you like sports or not, but even if you didn't like sports, even if it disgusted you to see people run into each other in football and you don't understand the point of it, but what if you could predict who was going to win these types of games, and it would shift, right, the pool for people who bet or that put money on things, and you was able to predict who would win, and people would pay you because they know that you would do it. Would that be valuable? Would it be advantageous to be telepathic and you know, if you're in a business, who to partner with, so that you wouldn't have any turmoil in your inner circle, any politics? Politics is like a virus, right? You think you got somebody on the surface, and then when it gets adverse, you don't know how people are going to turn into something else and ruin your business. What about telepathy and being able to predict who is the right person for you to build with and companionship with? And you're able to telepathically, through precognition, figure out, you can see somebody's pattern on a deeper level than they show you. Would it be valuable if you could see what someone is thinking about and know what to say so that you get the job or you get the deal or you get the contract? Telepathy, I want you to write this down, matters, because there's an artificial program, a metaverse that's influencing our mind in such a way, in an artificial format, and getting us dependent on it. But somebody can flip it off like a switch, like a remote control or something. And if we depend on it and they take it away, now what next? Hysteria. Then it becomes, how am I going to be able to stimulate my brain or my mind? Or how am I going to be able to order my meds? Or how am I going to be able to DoorDash my food? I don't go to the store no more. Or how can I? And so I'm telling you, when I'm talking to you about quantum leaping into the new time, telepathy and extrasensory abilities matter now more than ever. And so it's so powerful to have a format, a cosmology, an order of things to show us how that works. So we don't need a program or Simon Says to tell us, do this now or do that, or ring a bell and wake up and hurry up and hit the snooze button a couple times and hurry up and run out and almost be late for what it is that you are doing or committed to. To be on time is to be late. To be early is to be on time. So we got to adopt these concepts if we haven't already, if we want to be more successful in this day and age, the digital age. All right, so when I talk about this vision statement, we don't want to go on the surface in our minds. That's our linear mind and controlled by our logic and reasoning through the subconscious. We want to go deep into the emotional, spiritual side and remember the grandest version of ourselves. So when we take steps, we're not taking these baby steps and having a little bit of success, but we're taking gigantic steps, quantum leap steps, and we're going from $1 million a year to 10 million to 100, from 10 million to 100 million. And we're moving at a pace where we're able to not only go through those large steps, but we have the character, the resources, and the integrity to maintain, sustain, and advance that as well. But it all starts with how you thinking right now and how you see yourself right now. Your self-image is everything. All right, so what we're going to talk about, we're going to talk a little bit about the Julian calendar, the false measure of time. What's the solution, the power of synchronicity? And then we're going to talk about how to quantum leap with this information. So this is a recap from the end of false time. And I did a couple sessions today just talking about we make New Year's resolutions. Now let's talk about resolution. We're going to resolve something. Do you agree with me? When we're making a resolution, we're going to resolve an issue that we couldn't resolve the previous cycle or the previous year. So when we make a resolution, let's just say we picked up a little bit of weight. Okay, we're making a resolution to what? What are we doing next? Lose the weight. Okay. All right. So what if we didn't cut it financially and, we're not fulfilled in our career or our business. And we say we're making a resolution to find something that we can experience passion and fulfillment with. And we're going to move forward on that premise, right? We're going to resolve the previous issue. But let me tell you what happens for 99 out of 100 people almost. When we start on January the 1st with the resolution and we end on December 31st, we become celebratory about nothing being resolved. And a lot of us create more problems to resolve than the ones that we actually solved in the previous cycle. But we're celebratory about it. We hit fireworks about it and we say, man, when 2025 comes, I'm going to do this better or that better. And it's like some kind of spell comes over us and all of a sudden it changes our DNA because we say this and we're going to move into a more dynamic position than where we were at. It doesn't happen that way, family. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons why. Because we're trying to resolve things based on a false calendar that's not designed for you to evolve. Let me say it again. We're making a resolution to resolve things inside of an artificial calendar that's not designed to be resolved. It's designed to create more problems to fix because it's artificial and the programs are helping us to create more problems to stimulate our mind versus solutions because it's all part of an artificial program. So how can we really be very successful making these kind of declarations with a calendar? Now, most people didn't know this. I didn't know this 9 years ago, but I stopped making resolutions because of a calendar, and I started making resolutions through evolutions. See, evolution can give you the capacity to make what? Resolutions. Evolution gives you the capacity to create resolutions, to resolve things. But how difficult is it for you to resolve things with the same mindset that created the problems in the first place? So this becomes a relentless cycle, a feedback loop that keeps us from achieving. I want to remove that barrier for you today. So let me talk to you about what the calendar as a programming agent, not as something you put times and dates. By the way, the word intimidate comes from in times and dates. I learned that from Baba Wadi Kimi Tahuti Shabazz some years ago, and that made so much sense. That we get intimidated, and from intimidation comes anxiety. From anxiety becomes withdrawal. From withdrawal becomes we backslide into lesser results versus more results. So let me give you some history. The Julian calendar was created in 46 BC by Julius Caesar. It accounted for every leap year every 4 years. And according to the Gregorian team of astronomers, this created a discrepancy that caused it to be off an average of 11 minutes per year. Okay, so the Gregorian calendar was first introduced in 1524. In February 24, 1582. In its gravest concern that the way they were accounting for time had an effect on the mind and what they were trying to do. In this time, it was exploring the new world. The Gregorian calendar was proclaimed by Pope Gregory the 13th as a reform of the Julian calendar. So in order to do that, what they did is they advanced the calendar. So they started it on October the 4th, 1582. And that was a Thursday. And what they did to correct the errors, instead of doing it intermittently, they took all the 10 days up front and they skipped 10 days. And so when they started the calendar Thursday, October the 4th, on Friday, it was October the 15th. Where did the days go? In fact, it put us in the days. And this marks the first era in time that we need to deal with, because time is not a mechanical clock or a calendar. Time, from the perspective I'm going to talk to you, is the evolution of consciousness. So this is 10 days. The opportunity for you to evolve consciousness was taken away. Now, fast forward it to now. We're in the days of the week. Right? We in the weekdays, and we fight for the weekends because we lost consciousness and we're in a state of amnesia, and we're awakening from that amnesia. And this is your wake-up call to tap into the memory in ways that you hadn't been able to. Did you know that scientists say that we have over 100 million plus years of memory stored in our brain, in the back of our brain, in our cerebellum? Did you know that? And did you also know that I've been shown that we've only tapped in, the average person has only tapped into about 100 of those 100 million years of memory. That's 1/1,000,000th of our potential. The above average person hadn't tapped into 4 times as much, 400 years out of 100 million. So the question is, and I want to ask you all that's watching, since I'm talking about some deep stuff, and it don't matter if it's deep. See, once we go in a little bit and keep going in a little bit more at a time, we get deep, but it's digestible. So the question that I'm asking you who are listening and you who will listen, if we're only using 100 to 400 out of the 100 plus million years of memory to process who we are as a being, what if we were able to tap into more? Do you think it would change our reality for the better? And if the answer is the same answer I gave, is yes, you need to get deep into this so that you can take possession of your own memory and your own mind. And as you do this, you won't be corrupted by the artificial programs that's designed for you to expire versus you evolving and being able to inspire into the being, into the unlimited power of God that's in us in this physical body. So when I talk about this convergence, this is a very big point in juncture when consciousness shifted for the human being. All right. And although the reform was welcome at this time, some astronomers, many Protestants saw it as the work of the Antichrist, right, and refused to adopt it. In fact, Russia didn't accept it until 1918. So there's something going on with this calendar. It's a calendar of conquest. It's a calendar of being able to account for taxation. It's a calendar of capitalism. It's a calendar that supports the time as money paradigm. Now, I know time and money is important, but it's not most important. And so on this day, on the first of New Year's, for everybody that thinks that I'm about to take it to another level, I'm about to get that bag, I'm about to do this, that, and the other, I want to show you how to secure the hookup. To get it and secure the bag. Get it and secure the relationship. But it starts with you operating with the power of intention so you can be more, know more, do more, and have more. All right. So now this is a defining moment, because if you look here, this is what the calendar look like, Octobro. And so Thursday is where the 4th is, and look at that gap. Now, what we did at the Synchronistic Humanist School of Enlightenment, the Telepathic Remembrance Group team, they helped to reconstruct the calendars that we follow in addition to this calendar to see what the calendar says the consciousness we could have tapped into back then if we were in that time. And it was the most phenomenal thing that I ever seen. This was a great awakening. The indigenous Indians, they call it a notore. A great awakening took place because that gap that you see was filled in such a way to show how today we now can see, because let me explain something to you. Consciousness, right, is everything that we see, right? Consciousness is what the brain can process in forms of memories, in forms of dreams. And when the brain processes it, it realizes itself based on the level of consciousness that it processes, and it's able to operate with that consciousness in the body. So when the Great Awakening took place between these two dates, now you're in a position to fill this gap. And this may be the same gap. Watch this, Facebook. Watch this, IG. Watch this, YouTube, that's stopping you from reaching your next milestone in your life, because there's a glitch in the system that continues to have you feedback loop into mediocrity. Okay, so that error in time is what is in the gravest concern today. Because of this, the same thing that happened in 1582, they're contemplating changing the calendar. So how do you quantum leap? So one of the key tools that we use is the 13 moon calendar. Now, why would we use something like that? Because the moon has 13 cycles and not 12. That's why I talk about the artificial calendar. And when you look at the calendar, you see that every month is uneven. It has an uneven number of days. Okay. You have more 31 days than you have anything else. Right? You got 6 31 day months, and then you got 5 30-day months. You got 1 28-day month, and sometimes every 4 years, 1 29-day month. So how is your consciousness and able to connect to something outside the body, the cosmic memory, if it's disrupted in this chaotic fashion? Number one, the pattern. So I want you to focus on for a second. That's right, this order. I want you to focus on a second to just think about the order of how things unfold in the cosmos, in the galaxy, on the planet. There's a certain natural order that it happens in. And what I'm saying, instead of being in line with this jagged calendar, making resolutions but something that's artificial, that's supposed to be problematic, that's supposed to be artificial. That's where artificial intelligence comes from, to get in line with the natural order so that your success can grow just like the grass grows effortlessly. Why not? It's available. It's happening. So the meaning of the 12 months. Now we went over this, last Wednesday. And so I'm not going to go over all of this. You can take a snapshot of this. But let me tell you, when I started to break down the discrepancies that I saw in this calendar, I started to realize, why am I following it? September is the 9th month, but it means 7. October is the 10th month, but it means 8. November is the 11th month, but it means 9. And December is the 12th month, but it means 10. So why am I following this if I want to evolve? Now, those of you that are listening, if you don't want to advance and evolve, and you cool with the way things are, probably what I'm saying to you is not going to make as much sense as it is to the person that's saying, wait a minute now, what's this memory thing he's talking about? Wait a minute now. Should I be really following this? Does this really make sense? The moon has 13 cycles. Could that make a difference in my creativity? Could that make a difference with the natural flow of energy that I'm connected to? Do these months even make sense? And with that error in that gap, could it have affected me from generations up till now? And we show people at the school how it does. All right. So this is the discrepancy that we want to walk away from. So we're making New Year's resolution, and December is the 12th month, but it means 10. You ain't going to resolve that because November is the 11th month and it means 9, and October is the 10th month and it means 8. We're not going to resolve the errors of this calendar to resolve the issues in our life. It's not designed for that. And you're going to find that if you're really honest with yourself. Now, there is a way that people do it. Some people are just extremely skilled, and some people cheat. Some people get into scandals to get ahead. And that's not what I'm recommending for you, because we have to maintain our character and we have to maintain our integrity through universal law. So when you get this knowledge and this power, you don't want to misuse it. All right. So let's go ahead and move forward. So now look at this. The 6 months that are 31 days, 5 months that are 30, 1 month is 28, and sometimes 29, for a total of 365. So this is based on one solar orbit around the sun, and promotes time. Watch this, as a mechanical function powered by money and the capitalism paradigm. What happens when the money is gone? It sucks the life out of you. And you see people, when the money stops, the company goes out of business. This happens, that happens, right sizing, downsizing, XYZ. It shakes your world. What if I could show you a way that no matter what happened in the world system, it helped you build a new world versus tear it down? But if all your mind and all your energy and all your enthusiasm is in an artificial system not designed for you to win, let me tell you something. We placed our energy in the wrong place. This calendar builds the technosphere and the artificial consciousness that controls the human psyche. It tells you how to feel. That's why you have everybody walking around saying, I feel like this, and I feel like that, and I feel like, and I feel like, and I feel like. Well, until the feelings are purified, the feelings are an illusion that you got to sift through and figure out your mental disposition so you can stay sane as you figure out your purpose on this earth and advance yourself in this paradigm. Technology thrives and advances rapidly, but not the human consciousness. The human consciousness relies more dependent on this technology. And so if that technology flips the switch, then you are in big trouble if that's all you dependent on. And I'm telling you, in quantum leaping into the new time, what I realize is the game changer is that we have a human technology that's more advanced within us than the technology that we see on the material plane. We have a human technology that we haven't tapped into. And I'm encouraging you. Now, only a few of you are going to do it. Only a few of you, because we got to wait and see a lot of time. You have the group that tries it first, and it's a small group of people say, well, let me see. I'm part of that group. Look, let me see. What do I got to lose? I've been trying it this other way, and it ain't been working, and I know it hasn't, as long as I'm honest with myself. So let's see what happens with this. And then when you experience getting the results that are better than before, now you can come back and say, hey, it worked for me. And then it starts working for enough people, and that larger population of people say, all right, I guess it worked for a whole bunch of people. Let me try it now. And they kind of catch it on the tail end, you see? But the people that catch it on the front end get the biggest increase. But it's only going to be a few of you that are listening right now, because it's hard to think about something different when you've been doing it this way all the time. New Year's evolution instead of revolution. All right. So this technology, we need to move forward. And so this whole system is obsolete. And if you don't believe, we can talk more about that. And as it relates to evolution, as it relates to programming, it's right on point. But we've shifted. The earth has shifted from this information age ideal of self and the human avatar into the telepathic age of our experience. And I say, who owns your time owns your mind. Change your time, your concept of time. Time isn't a mechanical clock or watch. Time is not a calendar. Time is the evolution of consciousness. It becomes what we create. So what's the solution? So the first solution that we gave last week, we talked about the end of false time, is the 13 moon 28-day calendar. Every month should be like February. Isn't that interesting? Just think about that. 13 times 28 equals 364 days, right? And then there's one day out of time of celebration for everything to recalibrate and start again. Isn't that simpler? I mean, it's mimicking the 13 cycles a year that the moon has, that it revolves around the earth. But what do you revolve around? We're going to get into that and how to quantum leap. So look, the key thing is that the 13 moon calendar officially began in 1987, and it corresponds with the star Sirius, the heliacal rising of Sirius. Well, Sirius is a brighter star than our sun. So the question that I ask myself is, what role did this sun play in me having a state of enlightenment and being able to expand my consciousness? And I thought about a flower. You know, when in the darkness, the flower just looks like this, and then the light hits it, and then it starts to open up to receive the light codes, and it creates the intelligence for the flower to develop the symmetry and the beauty of its purpose. All right. This 13 moon calendar is in sync with the 13 galactic tones, as NDB mentioned, of creation. This 13 tones is dealing with sound, right? And this is the thing that I learned how to remember, that we don't need to follow calendars. We need to synchronize cycles. So therefore, we can synchronize this knowledge with other calendars. And in that synchronization, it opens up our mind like that flower, and that consciousness that comes from star Sirius and our sun can deposit solar seals and light codes into our brain to help us evolve. All right. So this is a powerful concept, and it seems really challenging. You know, the 13 moon calendar is really based on the 52-year cycle of Sirius B orbiting around Sirius A. 52 years. So this is how we start developing telepathy, because we start looking 52 years in advance instead of 52 days in advance, or just what can I do today? Flying by the seat of my pants. All right. It begins in the dog days of summer. on July 26th and ends on July 24th. And then the day out of time is July 25th. So take a snapshot of this, because this is in line with how to disrupt the systemic programming for artificial calendrics that don't help us resolve much at all. And we put great effort in. And how many people put great effort and very rarely reach your goals or make your resolutions? If you're honest with yourself, you'll be like, me, because I've had it happen to me. And I'm a pretty driven person. So I start playing this game with myself where I set really high goals. And if I get to halfway there, a quarter way there, it still advances me. And so that's the way, well, at least I got this much far. It synchronizes with cosmic and galactic and spiritual cycles from the human species, for the human species to evolve. This is the rise of the telepathic and the synchronistic human. Okay? Right? So now we are operating with a different format, a different order of things. And when we put things in a different order, we start getting different results. So now the law of time states, get a snapshot of this. Watch this. Energy, it takes energy now to exert yourself. Factored by time, the evolution of consciousness reveals and equals art. In this equation, E refers to all phenomena in their processes of unfoldment. Time is the present moment functioning according to the ratio of natural time frequency 1320. Everything is shaped by art, by time is art, because time evolves consciousness into things. So look at where we are. And so this is the two calendars side by side. And so when I saw this, I saw on the left side sickle cell. And when I look on the right side, I looked at normal cells, right? And I'm not making fun of anyone with sickle cell, but I'm saying this is distorted, and we follow this, and we're not even following natural cycles. So it creates sporadic productivity. Nobody can deny that. And so I changed that, and the sporadic productivity changed into a more steady productivity that increased. And then that's all I needed to see. Let me give you an example. If you were to set your New Year's resolutions and to evolutions and say, you know what? I'm going to set my monetary goals in 13 cycles instead of 10. I literally have created an accounting system that has 13 cycles instead of 12. Now, mind you, when I did this 9 years ago, it blew me away. Well, I said, that's ingenious. I didn't change the number of days in the year, but I created an extra month. So let's just say my goal was to make $10,000 a month. Well, on the 12-month paradigm, that's $120,000 at the end of the year if I reached my goal. On the 13-month cycle, it's $130,000. Same amount of days. So let me ask you a question. So anybody is it worth making a shift and giving it a try for an extra $10,000 a year? Would it help? I said, yeah, it would help. Let me try it. And it worked. It worked. But I didn't change anything. I just changed the cycles I was following. So what program would make me say, no, Neb Taharka, I'm going to stick with 12. That's some devil worshiping you got going on. Listen, if devil worshiping is following the moon cycles, that's right there supporting the earth. And these are cycles that's supporting how you breathe and how the tide rises and falls every year. It's affecting all of this, but you can't follow it. You might want to check your source of spirituality and what you think you're going to evolve from. And so we have to make some adjustments. Is this making sense to you all? You ain't got to understand it. You ain't going to understand it if you've been using this other way. But is it worth looking into? With $10,000 help. It can be more, but that's a start for those of you that's focused on money. Even if it was your goal was to make $1 million a month. Well, that's 12 million at the end of the year or 13 million at the end of the year. Which one is better? We got to start thinking and choosing our logic over our fears, over our inadequacies. Well, I don't know how that's going to work. You ain't going to know till you do it. But when it works, well, he's a jolly good fellow or she's a jolly good gal. You become a genius now because you did something simple that created a profound results. So those of you that are already aware of this, you need to get more rooted, more serious about it. How can you make a monetary goal and follow a 12-month cycle when you can make it into 13-month cycles? How many of you, one of your goals, one of your resolutions, those of you that follow New Year's resolutions, how many of your resolutions is to make more money? Yeah. You're going to need to create a different system because the capitalistic calendar is designed to create debt, not wealth. And so you got to create wealth through debt and understand how to do so in order to be an ingenious entity that moves beyond the mental incarceration of debt. Because debt equals death, right? Amortization, amort means death. All right. So I'm sharing this with you because now if we can accept for a little bit that this calendar is obsolete, it's only it can't be used as the basis of everything. I know our different appointments is on here, our different things that we have to do is on here. Now we can move into synchronization of cycles to open up our mind like that flower to receive something beyond the body, beyond the spirit, into this energy field that helps us remember that we're something greater than we are right now because we haven't tapped into all the memory. All right. So right now we're in the rhythmic moon, okay, of this 13th cycle. So we're in the 6th cycle out of 13 because remember, this started in July. And then let me tell you what synchronicity refers to. The underlying cosmic intelligence that synchronizes people. So this have you ever had, you made a shift and all of a sudden somebody shows up that has exactly what you need? That's synchronicity. Places, I had somebody today when I was watching the game with them. They said, yeah, man, I play golf. And this is why I play golf. And I was thinking, I put so much energy into this work. And I said, oh man, I didn't think about that. And I thought about me and my 7-year-old. I said, you know what? I should try that out and see, because he was saying it's the best. It teaches you about yourself. I mean, you should have heard him selling it to me. And I said, this is great. I'm going to get at a shot because I'm looking for something to do that me and my 7-year-old can do, and we can build, right? You don't got to be, strong or, whatever to do it. It's a mental game. And I like to give it a shot. I'm not a golfer, but I like to give it a shot. You see? So people, place, play God, events into a meaningful order. Now, 10 years ago, I probably said, oh man, that ain't something I'm interested in. But it puts it into a meaningful and purposeful order. And we experience synchronicity when an outer event, like what I just experienced, corresponds with the inner thoughts and perceptions and feelings. So have you experienced where you get into alignment and then the right people show up, the right opportunities show up, and the right places and spaces show up for you to move freely when you were restricted before? That's what the power of synchronicity does. Now let's talk about quantum leaping. To quantum leap, now this is going to take you for a loop. This is where people get off this horse, but I want you to stay on. All right. The way you quantum leap, all right. See, the 13 moon calendar prepares you and positions you to quantum leap, right? But what helps you stabilize this quantum leap experience is by starting to follow a 28-day calendar, 260-day calendar we call the Zolkin calendar. Now, why is this important? Because it takes about 260 days for you to start with your inception and end with your incarnation. All right. And in this is something that's masterful that the indigenous culture created, because this represents these 260 days, or can represent the 260 expressions of the creator, and it embodies the 1320 frequency of natural time, the 1260 frequency, the 12-month calendar and 60-minute clock. The consciousness knot is creating artificial consciousness. So it locks us into technology versus our own natural abilities. This helps us, the 13 moon calendar helps disrupt that. And now following this in conjunction with the 13 moon calendar helps you move faster in this quantum leap fashion, because each of the 260 expressions teach us how to remember or put ourselves back together as all 260 into one, as the full ideology and the full completion of the power of God inside the body. So the purpose is completed interaction, this 260-day cycle with all the 260 expressions to move what? To the next stage of remembrance and galactic knowing. This is what helps us evolve in a way that we can quantum leap on a continuous basis. And it's a monkey wrench because we never had to follow a 260-day cycle. We wasn't taught that in school. We wasn't taught that in religion. In fact, in religion, it might be considered as devil worshiping. But the 260-day cycle, what's wrong with you tracking your existence based on how long it took you to get here versus how long it takes a planet to go around the sun? That's when we celebrate birthdays, right? But in addition to that, celebrate how long it took you to get here as a being in the physical body. Watch how the advancement of your consciousness accelerates just from that. And we teach you how to do this. So we're not expecting you, when you get off here, to go follow this calendar and understand everything. But we have free sessions and we have paid for classes to show you exactly what to say and what not to say, what to do and what not to do, to integrate it into your life so you don't have to be dependent on this artificial program that's setting us up to expire any longer. All right. So now in looking at that, now this calendar is based on the Olmec, or the She people, Xi people, and Mayan traditions. You know, it goes as far back as 2000 BC. So this was way before its time because it helped create a more telepathic mind. These two civilizations, they followed and studied over 17 different calendrical systems at one time. And they did this because of how it opened up their imagination and their ability. Let me give you an example of this. It's so powerful. The Dogon tribe in West Africa, in Mali, they were able to see star Sirius without a telescope. And they drew it on the different walls of the village and showed that they saw it. And the astronomers couldn't understand it because they couldn't see it with a telescope until the 1900s. And they're saying, how did this happen? Their mind allowed them to see beyond the planet. Now, this sounds crazy, but they make movies about it. But if they make movies about it, somebody knows something that they're not telling us. All right. It's used to correspond with the human gestation cycle from inception to incarnation. It includes the 13 galactic tones of creation. It also includes the 20 light codes, of the dynamic frequencies of light that we call archetypes. And the 13 times 20 creates the 260 faces of the creator and the 1320 frequency. It's also considered a sacred spiritual evolutionary calendar by the indigenous. Now, I'm just going to ask you, this sounds far out. I know, because I know how I felt and I know how it sounded to me when I heard this. But what if it works? Would it be worth a try? Would it be worth a shot? Would it be worth a consideration? And if you can consider it and give it a shot, and it shows you how to practice self-governance, if it shows you how to be self-regulatory, and it helps you advance, why not continue to use it? Because we can create a great civilization and a great balance on the planet, more so than technology that's throwing it out of balance right now. So some of us were sent here just for what I'm talking about. Okay. So in this, there's a lot of different aspects of this 260-day calendar. I don't have time to go into everything, but it creates 20, right? It creates 20 cycles of evolution. And so every 13 days is a new cycle of evolution that's equipping and informing you, hey, this is how you can evolve over these 13 days. Really? Yeah. Here's what you do. Here's the instructions. And they give you the instructions. The hardest thing to do is to follow instructions. If you can follow instructions, you'll do well. I noticed that people who are very disciplined, like people that's been in the military, they do extremely well with this. But some of us have a hard time following instruction, even if it comes from our intuition, even if it comes from God, we have a hard time doing it. I'm saying now, let's make it an easier time for us to follow instructions. So this is what the calendar looks like, and it looks weird, but you start up here in the top where it says 1, you come down the column, right? And this matches up with the days of the 13 moon calendar. So it synchronizes, right? So based on the day in the 13 moon calendar, that day helps activate this energy of one of these expressions. And when we put the two together, it opens up our mind different. It tells us a story about energetically what's happening today. And I'm going to share that with you today, because today we're right here. If you see where there's a green box, it says 178. All right. So today, the expression 178 out of 260 is on the 1st of January. Right? So if you want to evolve outside of this artificial calendar, you want to say, it's January 1st, but what other cycles are going on that can inform me how to evolve? And so you look at this kin, this expression, and it's kin 178, the white solar mirror. What does that mean? Well, let's read the affirmation. It states, I pause in order to reflect. Now, pulse is a sign of life. So I live each day in order to reflect on what I experienced. Line 1. Line 2. As I reflect, I realize a certain order of things. I first realized in my reflection the disorder, right? And then I say, well, what is going to make it the synchronic order? What's going to make it orderly enough to help me reach my goals and resolve issues, right? So the second line, realizing order. I seal the matrix of endlessness. Once you put this in a certain order, it's going to continue to repeat and replicate itself into endlessness until you change it. That's why when we have certain problems, they keep showing up. Because the order in which we do things and the habits that we have, it keeps showing up. Like, dang, I thought I got past this. No, you got to change the order. I see with the solar tone of intention, I am guided by the power of timelessness and receptivity. And so we chant and say this 3 times to imprint it in our mind to help get insights from this. I pause in order to reflect, realizing a new order. I seal the matrix of endlessness. This new order is going to perpetuate this again and again and again. With the solar tone of my intention backed by integrity, I am guided by the power of timelessness. I pause in order to reflect, realizing order. I seal the matrix of endlessness with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power, not the disempower, the power and the inspiration of timelessness. Timelessness in this sense is the never-ending evolution of consciousness. It never has to end. But let me tell you, when we live in this linear world, there's something called doubt. And all we have to do is doubt something. 1% doubt and you out. And now the power turns into disempowerment. So you never can doubt yourself, the unlimited power of God. You got to press forward no matter what you see in front of you. It's an illusion because the power inside of you already has what it takes. to accomplish it. I want to make a quick definition of the synchronistic human. Is someone who's able to be multidimensional. This is going to resolve a lot of your things being multidimensional, not multi-deviced, but multidimensional, while unifying energy from the synchronicities of natural time cycles towards the holonomic evolution of humanity, Mother Earth, and the galactic whole. This just means that the consciousness that supports the Earth, the consciousness that supports the galaxy, is a greater consciousness that we can tap into outside of the body. The brain is designed to process consciousness so we can go further than we are right now. And I know this is a lot for you to take in, but you know what? It's a lot to take in when our life isn't working. It's a lot to take in to work in confusion. It's a lot to take in to have to take orders from someone who's not as intelligent as us. It's a lot to take in to keep having failure after failure after failure and act like you ain't failed and act like you're supposed to be excited about taking the next action. This is the age of the synchronistic human. This is the age of inquiring about how can I become what you're talking about versus denying, no, I don't need that Neftaharka. Well, you just wait as this intensity increases with artificial intelligence. And so we got to move from artificial intelligence to absolute intelligence. And this is how the process of doing it, instead of becoming one-dimensional, artificial, we become multidimensional. So nobody has to ever govern our mental again. Ashe. We got a couple things coming up that you can tap into. We're opening this up, the new kin orientation. I work very closely with Moon Goddess Ambrosia. She is phenomenal. And so this is where we help you get familiar with these concepts of galactic consciousness and your galactic signature, which helps reveal your galactic purpose. You have to be willing to learn something new. It's like going to a job. You don't understand everything, how your job, or you're going, what? On the job training. This is what that is, right? So join us tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. We're going to be right back here in StreamYard, and we're going to be streaming this on Facebook and IG, and as well as YouTube. All right, but inquire so that you can prepare. Now, here's what I recommend before, and the way you can prepare for that. If you're listening to this for the first time, you need to get your kin number. You need to see what expression of the Creator that you incarnated, that you were born on. And you need to start tapping into that affirmation so it can trigger your memory. That's what you need to do. So that when you get into this class tomorrow, you're going to have some familiarity. And it's a class to help you remember. Again, this is a remembering system, not a learning system. Because why do we need to learn something we already know, but we just hadn't remembered it? All we need to do is learn how to remember it, because it's in this 100+ million years of memory. And it gives us power over our own mind. Take possession of your own mind. All right, and then Sunday, Kin 182, the White Cosmic Men, Wind, we're going to be talking about evolutionary communication. All right, it's far out a little bit. But once your mind has been stretched, it can never go back to its original state. Your brain and your mind are separate. And so therefore, your brain processes the consciousness to access your mind, to inform you and equip you of what you can do in the body on this earthly experience. It's very powerful. All right. So this is a very powerful session. The next session we're going to do next Wednesday, watch this, and you want to be here for this. It's called the 90-10 principle of synchronicity and purpose. When you know your purpose, it's only a little 10% of the equation. It produces 90% of your result, because the universe responds to definiteness of purpose. And a lot of people are wandering aimlessly because they don't know the purpose of what they do. They're not experiencing fulfillment, even with family members, etc. And so once you know the purpose and you know it can be fulfilled, passion follows. Enthusiasm follows, fulfillment, and now you can get excited about your life again. How many of you want to get excited about your life again and start dreaming again? We don't need a metaverse to help us dream. We got a whole universe that we can tap into with this brain and process and realize the deeper aspects of ourselves in this body and do things that the technology can't even do, that we worship. Woo! Ashe. One more thing. We also have a cleanse, a 28-day cleanse in the resonant moon of attunement. This is from January the 10th up until February the 6th. It's going to be phenomenal. All right. So, and a good thing is we got our classes that are starting on the 17th of January. So you're going to be going through the fast while you're receiving this cosmic knowledge. And that's how I was able to move so quickly 9 years ago to where we are today. Man, I started decoding hieroglyphs because I was fasting. I was focused on sacred geometry, and I was learning this stuff that I'm talking to you about at the same time. With sacred geometry, when you focus, it increases your neurological activity. It helps you produce more neurons. Right now, you got to put new intelligence on the new neurons. You don't want to master your old reality. You want to create a new reality. And I just bought into that. And man, I start decoding hieroglyphs. I start having premonitions. I start getting downloads with instructions. And I said, let me just see if I follow it, what happens. And phenomenal things took place beyond my understanding. And I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it. And anybody can do it. I was just a business person. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could be a master teacher or a prophet or something like that, but we all can be once you realize what your purpose is. It's far beyond what you think you are right now. All right. So with this declaration of evolution, I want you to repeat after me. I declare to evolve. Say it. I declare to evolve. I am dedicated to the process of evolution. I am dedicated to the process of evolution. When obstacles come, I'm going to still press forward and evolve. When obstacles come, I'm still going to overcome the obstacles and evolve. All right. I am the power that can overcome. I am the power that can overcome. I will create and not destroy. I will believe and not doubt. I declare to evolve. I'm going to end with this video on our telepathic remembrance proof, and we're going to close out. I hope this has been meaningful. Watch the video on our telepathic remembrance group, and then we're going to go ahead and close this out. And many of you, if this has really got your psychic wheels turning, reach out to me so we can show you how to really evolve and create evolution versus resolution. All right, so let's go ahead and do the video right quick. Let's see what we got here. 1 second. I'm going to put it in. Here we go. All right, all right, all right. So thank you for joining us. I hope and trust that I've impacted you in a way that you now see how you can resolve things through the natural order and advance yourself and evolve like never before. So I will end with In Lakesh. I am another you. Allah King, you are another me. Hotep, Hetipu, and Namaste. Send me an email if you have any questions. I would love to correspond with you. All right. And don't you ever forget, evolution is the solution. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, Sunday, and next Wednesday in our events respectively. Peace.